Hey everybody, Scott Wikle. You're listening to My Kind of Country here on Fish Creek Radio. Our guest tonight has backed, recorded, and shared the stage with some of the greatest musicians in the world. For 10 years, he was the lead guitar player for the Merle Haggard Strangers Band. He's considered one of the greatest bebop, jazz, western swing, and country music players that ever existed. And it's a pleasure to welcome Clint Strong to My Kind of Country. Clint, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing out there?
Hey, we're doing fantastic. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, my pleasure. And thanks to Bart Curie, we're in touch here, and looking forward to this interview.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, too. It's a real pleasure to talk to you again after all this time. It's been a while since I've seen you, so it's real good to talk to you.
Well, good to talk to you, too.
Well, I want to go back and talk a little bit about your influences and how you got to be the musician that you became to be. And I understand that Howard Roberts was a big influence on you.
Yes, he was. He was one of the biggest influences, and still is. Yeah. He's so great. I got to start studying with him when I was 9, so that's been a long time ago, and I had a long association with Howard. Very proud and happy to have been associated with him.
Wow, that's outstanding. So you learned how to play from Howard then?
Well, now, I had started, when I went to my first Howard Roberts seminar, I was almost 10. I was just about 10. I had started playing when I was about 9, and I was taking lessons from a guy named Julian Akins in Oklahoma City, and Julian also taught Vince Gill at that same time, and Greg, the guitar player from, I can't think of the name of that band right now, but there's 3 of us that wound up, of Julian's students that wound up being in the business. And I took from Julian for about a year, and then my dad took me to that first Howard Roberts seminar. After Howard passed, I went up there to Seattle, and Patty took me upstairs, and she showed me he had this little letter that I had written to him when I was 9 years old. And it had some misspelled words. But it said something to the effect of, the Howard Roberts seminar is very good. You should go and check it out. There's a 9-year-old, but that letter, I guess it's been enough to Howard for him to have hung on to it probably. Should have just pinned right up there above his desk, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
it was
awesome.
cool. It was cool, yeah. Yeah, he was a great guy and a great friend, and I liked him because it just didn't matter where he was or what kind of music he was playing. It was just always a lot of greatness in it to me. So, that's my take on Howard there.
So what kind of stuff were you listening to that was really having an effect on your as you were developing your playing style?
Well, mostly for me, it's been jazz music. That's what I grew up around it, and my dad had a lot of friends that played guitar as a hobby, not necessarily. I mean, he knew a lot of the pros too, but he had a couple, 3 guys that would come around the house, and they'd sit around trying to figure out standard tunes or something, and that's before I was even playing the guitar. I'd walk back there and want to sing a song with them or something. Sometimes they'd let me do it, sometimes no, they'd kick me out. But there was always always guitar players around, and there's kind of a scene in Oklahoma City and Dallas, Fort Worth area down here, and there's a certain group of guitar players: Jack Peterson and Jerry Case, and Tommy Nash, and Bill Ham, and a lot of great players. I don't want to leave a bunch of them out, but there's a lot of great players down here, and I got to hang around those guys from the time I was first starting. So I had a really great opportunity to work with people that knew what they were doing. But my main education came from going and sitting in over in Dallas. My dad would take me before I could drive, and then after I got to where I could drive, I'd go by myself. But I'd go over there and sit in with Paul Guerrero's group and with the guys down in South Dallas, James Clay and Marshall Ivory and Red Garland, all those cats, and they're the ones that really taught me to play, I think.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
Yeah. And I had some great private teachers too. I had Rich Bertone was one of my teachers. He was a great teacher. Joe Settlemeyer, Jack Peterson. Of course, Jack is a world-renowned instructor. He started the guitar department at the University of Miami and one at Berkeley and the one in North Texas. And I'm not sure where all else, but he's a great educator and a great musician and a great friend.
Well, now you've come full circle. You've got your own instructional DVDs out, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to get paid for them.
Well, let's send everybody to clintstrongmusic.com and pick up some of those DVDs. How's that? We'll hook them up. Well, tell me how the whole Merle Haggard thing came about. How did you come to his attention?
Well, I went to high school with Freddie Powers Jr.
Okay.
Grew up with him. So that's a connection right there.
Uh-huh.
I had graduated high school and had went up to North Texas to enroll, and I just didn't want to be in school anymore. So after the first semester, I just jumped in my car and headed out west. And I had a job with Freddie Jr. and their little band. They had a little kind of country / top 40 band, and they were traveling around doing the Nevada circuit. You know, the Fallon, Reno, and Winnemucca, and Vegas, and all those little towns. And
uh-huh.
you go to a casino and you stay for a month, maybe. You know, you play for a month there, and you got to make pretty good money. You know, we make $600-700 a week. We had food and a room, and so it was an okay way to make money. Did that for about a year or so with Fred, and as our time was winding up there, we were going to get a little time off. We decided we'd go out to the lake and stay with his dad for a couple of days. Well, that's where Merle's resort was. That's where Freddie Sr. was living. So I went out there, started doing some stuff with Freddie Sr., and then Merle came around, and Roy Nichols had quit the band, and Tiny Moore had died. So they needed a player, and I was in the right place at the right time, you know.
Yeah.
And so I started out living up there in that resort at Silverthorne. He had a resort on Lake Shasta called Silverthorne.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived up there on those houseboats for the first couple of years that I was with Merle. It was great.
Wow. Now, you were a pretty young guy at that time too, right?
I was 19, yeah.
Wow.
And then the next year I was 20. Yeah. But, for a young guy, I didn't realize how incredibly luxurious that lifestyle was. I was just down there just hanging out, just playing every night, sitting in with whoever could, whatnot. But we were living on these beautiful, beautiful houseboats, this gorgeous place, and you had to drive up the mountain 25 minutes to get to where we were at, and we had a private dock with, locked gates, and then Merle had all the rental boats. I could go on and on. It was quite a way to live, but when you're a kid like that, you're not thinking all this stuff. You're just, okay. So Merle lets me have a 53-foot houseboat with a satellite TV and Macintosh stereos in the wall on Monty Python interior. It's like going home, man. I had everything that you'd have in a regular house right there on the water, And if it got too cold to fish, well, we'd just come in the houseboat, shut the doors, turn on the heater, and move the coffee table over, lift up the hole we had. We'd fish right in the living room, So it was really neat. Freddie Powers lived in the boat next door. Biff Adam, the drummer, had one across the way, and there was a fellow named Jim Upshaw and his partner. They lived in the other one. And then Merle had the big boat called the Troubadour. It was parked at the end. So we just had a ball living on those boats. And he had a nightclub up the hill, and every week there was some major country artist played there. And it was like, this was 85, so we had Clint Black, we had the Judds, we had Tammy Wynette, we had Wynn Stewart, we had Maddox Brothers and Rose, and I got to play with all these people, right?
Wow.
And so a bunch of them, it was a couple of 3 years later that I really realized who they were. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't really come from a country background, well, not one of any history anyway. I'd heard Bob Wills. I knew a few Bob Wills tunes, and I knew some Hank Williams tunes and a bunch of Merle's tunes, but I wasn't really a country player. I had grown up playing jazz. That's what So when I came on the band, that's really what I was doing. I sort of think I more moved into Tiny's spot than I did Roy's. Mm-hmm. I never was that kind of chicken picking Telecaster kind of player.
Yeah.
That's not my, but there's plenty of guys that can do it well. So, and after I was there for almost a year, I think Roy came back. So, and that was really cool because I got to room with him and, hang out with him every day. And it was just great. And that was
What was Roy like? I heard he was kind of a quiet guy. What was he really like?
Well, yeah, unless you got to know him. And then when I got to know him, he was funny, man. And and a lot of fun to be with. And okay, I'll tell you the kind of stuff he would do. It just surprised you all the time with how much stuff he knew. So I get this, I went and bought a Telecaster. It was a 52 reissue, right? Or 62 reissue, I think. And I take it down to Gene Parsons in Fort Bragg, California. Merle loans me the limo, and I get my friend Lynn, and he drives me down there, and I get a B-bender put in this. Do you know what that is?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, I get the B-bender put in by Gene Parsons himself, and Gene gives me a kind of a videotape to take back with me that has a bunch of these licks on it, B-bender licks, right?
Uh-huh.
So I'm headed back to Bakersville. I can't wait to show Roy, And so anyway, I learned about the 40 licks on there, B-bender licks, I mean, standard stuff, But when I got back to Bakersfield, I went down to get some cigarettes. They had one of those deals that buy 2 packs and get one free, right? So I show up at Roy's door at about 8 in the morning with my guitar on my back, and Quita answers the door. That's his wife, and she sees like 3 packs of cigarettes in my hand. She says, "Damn, Clint, how long you plan on staying?" Anyway, just that kid, they just were always saying funny stuff like that. Anyway, so I got there, and I'm showing Roy his guitar, his bender and everything. He said, "Oh, that's cool." So I played a bunch of these licks. Maybe I played through 15 of them, right? He takes his Les Paul off the wall and does every one of them licks with his hands. And does it better than I was doing. Yeah.
How fast did it take? How long did it take you to get your guitar back in the case?
I tell you, it was just another good lesson. I learned a lot of different lessons by moving into another genre. Things that you just wouldn't know unless you got around those guys.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't approach things the same way, and I had to learn that and adjust to it. I played a G7 flat 5 on Ramblin' Fever, and Merle said, "Whoa, hold a minute, what was that?" And I said, "This chord right here." He said, "Well, that don't work there." I said, "Oh yeah, it does, and here's why." But it's a theoretical rule, and he said, "Okay, that chord don't work with this band on this song." We don't play that no more. But you got to remember, see, I was a young kid, man. I was just, I didn't know that would bother them. That sound is very familiar to me and not any kind of a problem, But
right.
Last note of a melodic, the 7th note of a melodic minor, right? But they don't. He didn't want that there, so that was his way of saying it.
Mm-hmm.
And they taught me a ton of stuff like that. You don't need a B-bender. You can do all them licks with your hand. A B-bender's cool if you want to get one. It is what it is. I never liked that guitar that well because it's got damn radius on the neck. I can't play a neck with a radius on it. I'm used to a flat neck. So there it is there. Roy was great, and we had on the band that I played in, the musicians were Biff Adams, Dennis Romack, Biff was the drummer, Dennis on bass, Mark Terry on the piano, Norman Hamlet on steel, Jimmy Belkins on the fiddle, Gary Church on trombone and trumpet, and Don Markham on tenor sax and trumpet. And so that's kind of weird there. That's woodwinds and brass.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Don played both. Both. Ira Sullivan did that same thing. Great jazz musician, Ira Sullivan. But and Bonnie Owens was singing harmony. So it was a great, absolutely great band. And there were a lot of things that happened with that particular group. Merle was really excited about playing and about, we were trying to blow each other off the stage. In a friendly way, but, every night we're trying to, play as good as we can. And got to blow a lot. I feel very fortunate for the time that I joined Merle and I got to stay with him until the time I was gone. It's perfect.
You guys made a lot of great music together, man. You had some of the greatest albums. Friend in California is my favorite album to this day. And
well, thank you very much.
Some of the leads you did on there, I was actually listening. You guys did that entire album on Austin City Limits. And you played the album in its entirety. And, man, I'll tell you, some of the licks that, you did in there were just phenomenal. And, of course, Roy was there at that time. And you guys were both playing Gibsons on that show.
Yeah. What was really cool about that album is we went into the studio about 10 in the morning and we left about 10 at night. It was done. One day.
Is that right?
Yes, sir. And the engineer was Snake Reynolds, who's a great. Now, this is what I like about that. I've worked with 2 engineers in the business. I've worked with 100 of them, but the 2 that did this is what got me. When I went into the studio, I noticed he's not pushing a lot of buttons. He ain't moving nothing. He's got it set. He gets it set, and then he lets us play. And he doesn't hardly move any knobs at all. It's a stop, start button. You know, that's it, man. I mean, the guy's just sitting in a chair, watching it go down, and I don't hear him changing anything or moving anything. It's just, I mean, that to me is a mark of a great engineer. There's 2 guys like that I work with in the deal: Snake Reynolds and Larry Sayre. Larry Sayre is a guy down here in Texas that works with Ray Benson a lot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or as the Italian Mater D at what the hell was that hotel we played at with Freddie Show? You know, it's there's a place in Reno where we used to play right next to Fitzgerald, at the El Dorado. The Italian Mater D used to come over there and say, Freddie, there's a guy next door in the lounge. I think he plays your kind of music. You'll like it. His name is Robinson. Robinson.
Robinson, I love it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was great. So
That's
anyway.
cool. Now, when Roy left the band, was it kind of a planned thing that Roy was going to kind of step out after you'd been playing for a while, or was that not really the circumstance?
Not to my knowledge, there wasn't any plan. Roy just did what he wanted to do, or he felt he needed to do. You know, I mean, he came back. I think he stayed about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, something like that. And then I guess he just decided he didn't want to do it anymore again. You know, I never had anything to do with him coming or leaving, except that I wish he would have stayed. You know, but I think we all did. You know. Yeah. He was a great guy. You know, I can tell you some things, but I have to be a little bit discreet about some things. So because we're on a live interview here, you know, our moms are listening, right? You know, but yes, he was a fabulous guy, and he knew so many things about all the music. He had maybe a deeper history than anyone because he was the eldest member, and that, you know, I mean, he had played with. He started with Mattis Brothers and Rose when he was 14 or 15, and directly after that he went to Lefty Frizzell.
Yeah.
You know, he was on all of them where Lefty had 8 songs in the top 10 or some deal like that. You know.
Yeah, and then he worked with Win Stewart after that, and then Merle for all those years.
That's correct. He worked with Winifred too. And man, all the stories he told me about Ralph Mooney, you know, which is just, you know, I can't really repeat a lot of them, but you know, great. And especially to parking lot things. You know, I would go over to his house, and I remember the first day my biker friends from Oildale, which is where I was staying at the house of my biker friend, Mooch, and Mooch took me over to Roy's house, and we went back into his music room, and there was guitars hanging on the wall, but there was mainly this huge bookshelf with about probably 1,000 books on it. And I asked him, my first question, did you read every one of the books? And he looked at me and said, every one. Yeah,
cool.
He did. I mean, you know, and there were all kinds of books about war history and about world history and about music and about crime and about just all kind of things. You know, he was a really intelligent guy.
That's cool. That's really cool. Well, I have Bobby Wang was a good friend of mine, and he sent me some movies that he had made on the road. He bought himself a video camera, and he was taping you guys out on the bus and stuff like that.
Right.
Back in about 89 or so. And you were learning how to play the dobro at that time, and you were sitting there, and he was playing rhythm guitar, and you were working on the dobro. Did you ever get that mastered?
Man, you know, I never did master it, but that was a great dobro. I wish I had it back. I shouldn't have traded it. But, you know, it's like you start accumulating so many things, and it was in a big old huge coffin-like case, and it's hard to schlep around. But that dobro was a Mosrite made by Timmy Mosley, you know, who's made the guitars that the Ventures played for a long time, and also that Jody Mathis played. You know, or Joe Mathis, Jody's his son. But anyway, I had that. It was a 12-string dobro, and you could turn the guitar over, and there was a little screw on the back, and you put a quarter in it and turn it, and it would raise or lower the strings. So you could play it as a pick dobro or as a regular dobro. But like I said, it was 12 string, so I took 6 strings off of it, so it'd just be regular. And I did the night I got Merle made me watch Ralph Mooney one night. He took a business, and I got Ralph to play it a little bit, show me some stuff, and then Norman showed me a few things. But I just recorded one cut with Freddie Powers from using a dobro, and then that was it. You know, I tried to play some other instruments, but if you're going to play any instrument well, you need to have full commitment.
There you go. There you go. Well, you certainly play that guitar well, so nothing to worry about there. But those were cool to watch, and Bobby was a great guy. He told me a lot of great stories. And I have talked to Gary Church. He asked me to tell you that he loves you, and he hopes you're doing well.
But you tell him right back I love him too, and you're like a hair and a biscuit.
So what are you up to these days, Clint? Where are you playing, and what are you doing with your music these days?
Well, I haven't been doing a whole lot, but this last weekend was a little bit busy. We had the guitar show, the Dallas International Guitar Festival, and we had the Denton Arts and Jazz Festival. So I played at both of those events, and now I'm just waiting for somebody to give me another gig.
All right, so, that's the way it always is, isn't it?
Yeah.
When did you leave the band with Merle, and what were the circumstances behind that?
Well, the circumstances were that it was about my 10-year mark. You know, if you'll notice with Merle, about every 10 years he cleans house. You know, and so it was my time to go, and he wanted to hire Joe Manuel at the time, so I left and went on my way. That was '94, and the circumstances. You might ask somebody else that question. Let me tell you. There's different views on it, but I think really Merle wanted just a switch. You know, he's ready for different sound, and we've been doing it for 10 years. You know, so I'll just tell you the truth. It was hard to go out and play certain things over and over every night and try to still play them with that fresh, enthusiastic.
Yeah.
I mean, for me it was anyway, and I know it was for him for sure. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So that had to do. It was just that time. You know.
Yeah.
I stayed from '85 to '94, and then after that, I did a couple more things with him here and there, but that just one-off. But I never went back permanently. Although I did somewhat stay in touch with him, but it had been about 2 years since I actually spoke to him after he passed the other day. But I was telling my friends, I said, I think he did real well because right after I left the group in '94, they removed about half of his right lung. He said. Yeah,
yeah.
It's about a long time. It's a long time to live without,
Absolutely.
And, they don't take your lung out unless there's something,
Yeah, amen to that.
And so I think Merle did good, and, he would win as long as he could. He gave us all he could.
Yep, that's for sure. Have you ever worked with Red Volkart?
Oh, I saw him the day before yesterday. We hung out all day long, man. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Have I worked with him? Not. We didn't actually have a hired gig together, but we used to play a couple of nights a week at the Carousel Club in Nashville, right down there in the Printer's Alley.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a ball playing down there. I just played with Red's trio. The Manuel brothers took me in there to sit with him. We had a gas there. And I played with him, let's see, one other spot. That was he was out with one of the sub-country artists. Maybe it's Clinton Gregory or something. I can't remember. I think that's where I first saw him out on the road. But that we set it with Clinton one time, and then but the Carousel Club was where me and Red really did this play.
Oh, that's
yes,
cool.
I have. Yeah.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
He's dead. Yeah, he's a great player. Wonderful.
Well, Clint, I want to thank you for taking time to be on the show, and it's been a pleasure talking with you, and I want to thank you for all the great music. And folks, again, go to clintstrongmusic.com, and you can read all about Clint's career, pick up some of his CDs and DVDs there, and see where he's going to be at, and you'll never be disappointed, I guarantee you that. Thank you so much, Clint.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And y'all take care and hold the fort down out there. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. We're going to play Friend in California. Listen to this lead solo on here. You're going to love it, folks. My Kind of Country continues here on Fish Creek Radio.